Dzień dobry Państwu. Cieszę się, że tak widzę Was licznie.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy that I can see a full house almost today. We will hold the panel in Polish. Yesterday we're celebrating birthday of one of us. So yeah, we've introduced our guests, our panelists. I will start from the first question. This question would be this question 0, so to speak. Gentlemen, can you actually see the increase of new users in terms of volume on the exchanges that be comparable to the end of 2020 or 2021? I'll start from my left side. Thank you very much for the invitation to this panel. I would like to extend my thanks to the organizers of the conference. It's a fine job. Okay, yes, we've actually observed a significant increase of new users that became interested in cryptocurrencies at the beginning of this year compared to the previous year. In terms of volume, I can't really give you any figures at the moment, but these figures are definitely higher compared to the last year. I'm sure that the first quarter, even the first half of the year, was very, very positive in terms of these results in comparison to the previous year. However, I am unable to compare the volume in 2024 to the volume in 2022. Gentlemen, a short announcement.
We'll write outside the room, so pick one up and it will be possible. Thank you.
Z mojego punktu widzenia wolumeny są trochę inne niż
The volumes are a bit different compared to 2021. What seems to be interesting is that we can see a large number of meme coins this year. And I think that this is very much related to what is happening on CEX, and especially Solana and Bitcoin. From the point of view of Kanga, we need to be aware of one thing. We are still a player that continues growing, continues developing. We can't be compared to Binance, for instance. Yes, we register increases in volume, but they result from our expansion or new markets or new segments of markets that generates more volumes. We have the crypto volume, the flows of money via BLIK, via other mechanisms of bank transfers, and cash. So 3 streams, really. And in all these segments, we have green lights. In Kanga, the green light is on when we have all the major indicators in those top 25 percentile points. So this is when we feel that we are being successful in what we are doing at a given moment in time. Now, as far as the cash week is concerned, I'm not sure whether you're all aware of this, but the best cash week that we've ever had was the last week of October 2021. Kuba, I'm wondering, do you know why? Well, I can guess, probably because that was the moment when this regulation came into force that decreased the anonymity to €1 million. Yes, and that created this rally on the market. And this week is the best, and we haven't so far registered such a good week. If we could compare volumes alone, would make sense if we had the same level of marketing operations in place. However, last year we pumped a lot of money into marketing, particularly sports marketing. So what we're trying to do is to contribute to the mass adoption of cryptocurrencies jointly with other industries, which results in higher volumes. May I just chip in? Apologies, gentlemen, but as far as new users go, so that I'm going back to the first question. As far as the numbers of new users are concerned, well, volume is a metric that demonstrates the activity of those existing users not always just new users. Whenever we're dealing with an increase in new users, it means that probably we get those people from the street, so to speak. So it's getting more mainstream. Well, in our exchange outlets, I can't really see that many new users. So I feel that these are always the same familiar faces. Rarely does it happen that we witness a new person entering the market. They might be actually using different channels than our currency exchange centers. Fair enough. But I still get the feeling that there are still a lot of things ahead of us. For instance, Slawek, I'm going back to what you're saying. I'm just thinking what metrics can actually indicate clearly at what stage of the upturn bull market we are at this point in time. I think that's a good metric. Those people who do not have access to the data, same access as we do, when you think about the volume of users in currency exchange centers, well, this metric comes in handy for them because they know at what stage in market cycle they are. March, April, these were the best months from my point of view in terms of what was going on in our currency exchange centers. So I think that once ETFs came into play, that was a driving force for increasing prices of Bitcoin. But that actually wasn't that intense, given that we still have people only entering the market. So what I'm trying to say is that we have people who do not have access to this type of data, and they would like to know, for instance, how many new users we have, what is the interest rate among those new users, are there any possibilities that they could use in order to compare this data. For instance, if we have new users in 2020, and how does that compare to what we have today? I think I guess at what you're aiming at the moment, but volume is this metric that can be hugely impacted by institutional investors. So if we want to take into account other factors that might come into play, if you want to assess volume alone, it will be fairly hard to pull off. What I think is that volume is mostly impacted by marketing operations, marketing activities. Naturally, the economic situation on the market is of significance too. However, I need to point out that cryptocurrency exchange is actually resistant to the bear market. Regardless of the economic situation on the market, the currency exchange platform, exchange, stock exchange, or currency exchange center, they will continue operating on the basis of bid, ask, or sell by. I ask you guys here in the audience who joined, for instance, the DX, who uses DX over the last year. Well, so I guess that we have only veterans here in the audience. I was just trying to see how many users we have. We can see an increased traffic. We operate in 100 countries, and Poland actually stands out compared to the rest of Europe. We have increased traffic, 3 digits actually increases in traffic in volume in Poland. Those hyped media events, such as, for instance, the ETF in Bitcoin or ETFs on Bitcoin. These are those events that attract more interest. However, we are not dealing with such a boom situation as we enjoyed during the last previous bull period. Now we celebrated our 5th anniversary, and we had 20 million users. That happened in autumn last year. So I think that actually the increase is quite considerable, and Poland stands out in a positive way compared to other European countries. Thank you very much for this contribution. As far as Poland and the rest of the countries are concerned, what is the position of Poland? Or maybe, what is the situation of Europe in terms of regulations that are in place compared to other countries or other continents of the world? How can you actually see the future in terms of regulations? I mean, what do you foresee in terms of future developments in the light of the new regulations? How will it play out in terms of CX? Well, I think that we all agree here as representatives of cryptocurrency exchanges, stock exchanges, that the regulations, the costs related thereto went up considerably. And I get this impression that it might actually tie the hands of stock exchanges to some extent. We have, for instance, this issue with India that we cannot ignore. It has changed only recently, so stock exchanges can continue operating there. We have Canada. In the case of the United States of America, a heated debate over the regulations is taking place. In Poland, opinions change. So I think that in terms of the cryptocurrency business, it all boils down to trust. Our users need to trust us, that they need to be confident that when they entrust their money to stock exchanges, despite the fact that this money is virtual, it's still safe. We have TFX default, and we have the protection fund issues. Well, these are events that are of key importance when you're making these decisions. $500 million in protection fund that covers 186% of our contingency reserve. Plus, we, of course, issue our reports in a transparent manner, so you can always check our wallets when we keep our stocks. And I think that all of those key stock exchanges are doing the same thing in order to make the users confident that the users' means are and funds are 100% safe. I think that we've exhausted the topic, but I can only add that the regulations, they lead to an increase in expenditure, especially on the legal side, on the legal department side, because we need to do a lot in order to comply with those regulations. We have MiCA, naturally, so the EU regulation related to virtual cryptocurrencies. I guess that we need to already start preparing for it well in advance. That also depends on the strategies adopted by particular stock exchanges. But what is important is that we need to clarify what will change and what is happening now. As far as the regulations related to cryptocurrency market is concerned, I mean, it can impact many countries in a different way. In some countries, it might lead to the situation that some of the tokens or cryptocurrencies may not be used. So, for instance, a token security, well, that's a token security according to one system of law. In other country and other jurisdiction may think that this is not, may deem it not a security token, but a utility token. So it depends. I'm not a huge fan of these regulations that are being introduced now in Europe and in the States. I think that the biggest players, they will stay put, but the smaller fish, they will be kicked out of the market. So I think that MiCA regulations, well, I think that this will lead to the situation where we have those scammers that they use cryptocurrency mechanism in order to, just basically commit fraud. And they will continue doing those evil things, whereas those honest entrepreneurs will be forced to pack it in. The Financial Supervision Authority in Poland will supervise the use of cryptocurrencies, and I think that the more stringent, more rigorous in terms of their expectations, then what MiCA law stipulates. And we are now obliged to verify the source of funding, but we also probably will need to check the size of this person's shoe or who they sleep with. That is all part of AML strategy, but I think it's a bit excessive. I think that I would agree with what has been said once, that AML is basically a tax law. And when he said that publicly, he was actually summoned to the Legal Advisors Council and he had to formally apologize. But I can quote him, right? And he won't bear a grudge against me because of that. So we are living in this legal uncertainty. We don't know whether Teta will actually try to be present in Poland or not. European users may not be able to trade in those pairs with the American dollar. So why can't actually I, as a Polish citizen, trade in this particular pair with American dollar?
Nagroda ze stakingu.
Because every single reward from staking will be referred to as interest and no longer reward. And this is something only and exclusively within the realm of banking entities. But maybe my colleagues, fellow panelists would like to comment on this. Probably when it comes to MiCA, what seems to be most complex will be regulation pertaining to stable coins. What about Euro, PLN regulation to the Polish zloty? Perhaps again, it will be treated as a stable coin. It remains to be seen. What seems to be the most complex aspect from the point of view of exchanges is that each and every country introduces some kind of regulation pertaining to stable coins, and as a result, a lot of problems crop up when it comes to the fragmentation of depths of our order books. If you have several pairs, how will they operate on different stable coins without the base USDT? And globally, generally, some regulators seem to be interesting. For instance, in Hong Kong or Australia, regulators tend to be quite friendly, approachable. The same is true when it comes to Canada. It depends on a specific province. In Europe, it's different all across different countries, and it's difficult to reach a consensus. We need a sizable team of lawyers internationally to handle it all. It goes without saying that financial outlays when it comes to the role of lawyers in the realm of AML are much more significant. But if we are to take a look at the regulations that are going to be introduced, we try to welcome them and we try to discuss them all with regulators, because I believe that only by way of open discussion we can work out some kind of common sense solutions. But this requires a dialogue. MiCA is bound to impose a number of changes in a highly dynamic and ever-evolving way. And on the other hand, a lot of users that we try to reach are predominantly mainstream users that are basically apprehensive of entering the crypto world because they are afraid of regulations, or actually the lack of them. And they don't know where their money will end up. For them, it's not understandable or clear, so a lot of regulations that will be introduced on the way probably will solve the potential problems, and in this way, we will be able to open our door for mainstream users so that they are willing to use our crypto exchanges, currency offices. But one question arises. Once cryptocurrencies are super regulated, what difference does it make if we have CBDC or crypto? Because by definition, crypto was supposed to be a kind of technological solution serving as an answer to the existing system. So if we regulate everything, will it still continue to be a business for us? exchanges, currency offices, will it start resembling just, the general banking sector? So again, one question arises. Maybe, possibly, all the regulations will result in the fact that currency exchanges, foreign currency offices and cryptocurrency offices will be no longer that sexy for the users. And do you feel that decentralized exchanges can pose a threat to you somehow? I wouldn't call decentralized exchanges any kind of threat. They do have their pros and cons. For one thing, privacy is an undeniable asset, being able to exercise control over your own means, financial means. But we do have lower liquidity, slower transactions, responsibility of the users for any decisions adopted. When it comes to centralized exchanges, we have a higher rate of liquidity, enhanced customer service, and generally the entire platform interface seems to be more user-friendly. It seems to me that both centralized and decentralized exchanges could possibly enter into some kind of a cooperation with one another because they seem to be complementing one another. It all depends on a specific user which exchange they would rather use. If they value privacy, all the advantages offered by the centralized exchanges, then they can feel free to use them. But if they would rather harness the advantages offered by centralized exchanges, it is still possible. For the time being, I believe that they both types complement one another, and from our perspective, we don't see them as any kind of a threat. Binance also has a decentralized exchange by the name of Binance DEX. For us, it's a sphere where we also feel at ease and where we can support others as well. I believe that centralized exchanges can be a threat. Some of them have higher costs of operations, and they can operate very quickly when it comes to new token listings, especially if we have some pools that can be created by the users themselves and they don't need any money makers. In Cube, the solution that we have to offer, we used to operate in a hybrid mode. The entire layer of sentiment custody exchange, it was all centralized. And as a result, the users are in a position to verify if they have their funds directly on their blockchain. They can watch them, monitor them all the time on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and they have access to an ongoing customer service. All the time, referring to your previous comment, where you ask one question, if Bitcoin is going to be highly regulated, to paraphrase your comment, I'm going to add something. What about this highly regulated Bitcoin? Will it still resemble the original Bitcoin as it was at the beginning? And here, a question to all of you. Please try to answer it from the bottom of your heart. What about Satoshi Nakamoto? Would he rather see Bitcoin highly regulated? Because maybe originally it was a voice of opposition, protest against whatever is regulated. I'm talking about the banking sector and space. Let's bear this in mind, whatever is going on in the USA currently. We are all happy to see that. It's all good. We have DEFs. Everybody can purchase a unit representing Bitcoin, but actually it is not a Bitcoin, actually. So maybe it is going away from the source. Please remember where you come from and where you are going, something to take away. When it comes to sexes and dexes, I notice myself that this topic keeps evolving in my head. These are the spaces I'm going to say something really interesting. They seem to be competing on one hand, that's one perspective, but again, I would say that they seem to be complementing each other. Those who are responsible of sexes will also have to focus on dexes. We heard about those examples. and decentralized exchanges like Kanga that do not really agree with the voice and thought of the regulator, I mean, we'll have no way but to go DEX or quasi-DEX because we have some advantage over some regulations. We can still introduce solutions that cannot be really regulated. And as for DEXs today, they seem to be highly complex. Sometimes you have to have a PhD from NASA to be able to handle something there. And the users that haven't even entered the market, I'm sure they are not going to use DEXs because, I mean, how? Sex is simple and easy. It's interesting. The more regulations, the more people tend to use DEXs. In the USA, we have the highest number of people using DEXs, and in Asia, people tend to use centralized exchanges. As for crypto, both CEXs and DEXs, both centralized and decentralized exchanges, are complementary. They complement each other. There is some kind of user life cycle that begins the adventure with crypto with centralized markets. Obviously, there are some exceptions, people with background in IT that at the very beginning know how to handle complex interfaces of decentralized exchanges. In our case, it's all about the mass adoption of brand new user. Let me underline it, brand new users, because we want to approach those who don't know anything about crypto. We have to do away with those cliches pertaining to cliche. It's not about explaining all the intricate mechanisms and technology. We have to pinpoint all the possible advantages as well as problems that can be solved given the fact that at the right stage somebody is going to develop interest in cryptocurrencies. So what if somebody starts using centralized exchanges in the entire life cycle of a given user? You can start with that at leisure, and then at some point you decide that you are rather interested in the decentralized part of the exchange, and some part of the transactions or operations will be effected there. This market is only fledgling. It is at an early stage of development, especially here in Europe, especially in Poland. We have a lot of negative stereotypes when it comes to cryptocurrencies. A lot to do, a lot to be discovered, and I believe that centralized exchanges are bound to grow, and they cannot be a threat to us, really. In BitGet, we believe that cryptocurrencies offer you a freedom of choice, and this is what is pivotal. And again, I agree with Slawek. If somebody wishes to exercise more control, enjoy more privacy, they will rather use decentralized exchanges. But if you are a beginner, you don't know how to navigate through the world of crypto world, you are going to start with centralized exchanges. We have a solution for that. BitGet Wallet, non-custodial wallet. It's an Asian solution that currently has a dozen or so million users. And in this way, very simply, you can start exploring the world of crypto. And at your disposal, you have a wallet where you are fully an owner of all the means. But again, with the benefit of hindsight, I mean, in future, probably we can see enhanced cooperation between centralized and decentralized exchanges. And then we have lookups, jams, other projects that are sought after, widely sought after. They are not going to be listed on sizable exchanges because first they will be available on decentralized, smaller exchanges. So again, it's good to enjoy freedom of choice. If you look for smaller projects, you can go for decentralized solutions as well as mobile applications, because thanks to this, you can enjoy access to DEX in a mobile way. Talking about any kind of facilitations, amenities offered by centralized exchanges, again, a question to you. What is that users really require or expect from you as some kind of technological facilitations, listings, testing new products? Because many exchanges indeed operate using the same type of software to the best of my knowledge. So here, probably apart from trust building and all kind of legal issues, marketing is another crucial element as some kind of an additional solution. But once, in technological terms, we are coming closer to the level where most exchanges, which is an oversweeping statement, operate very quickly and enjoy a high rate of liquidity. What is that exchanges can possibly compete with? Or can they expect any kind of change of an exchange by a given user? Because actually, personally, I tend to be quite loyal to the exchange that I started using in 2017, apart from the fact that sometimes I need to purchase a currency that is not listed there. I don't see any need to basically change my deeply rooted habits. So what about those newly emerging exchanges to possibly acquire new customers, users? How would you go about it when it comes to attracting and possible new users? What is that you can offer to them as a novelty? There is this golden rule of investing. You have to spread the risk. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket, basically. So most of us tend to use at least 2 or 3 different exchanges as a place of asset allocation. We have a lot of launch pools, launch pads introduced to attract new users. We have several accounts. So these are the exchanges that surely also build new services like pre-market OTC. In the case of BitCat, that focuses on traders, we tried to develop very intensely all kinds of tools for professional traders, being able to copy, emulate the strategy of different other players, highly advanced AI-based tools in order to maximize all the possible profits and just to make your everyday trading activity easier. And I think that in the foreseeable future, we can see that exchanges will try to connect the world of fiat with crypto more and more. They will try to facilitate card payments. I'm sure Slawek will tell you more about it when it comes to their interesting solutions. So it depends on the type of a user. You need to be able to offer, to make any kind of payments, withdrawals, without having to wait, without having to explain yourself. Of course, complying to all kind of AML regulations, but the users have to feel that it's their own money. They don't want to feel suspected of anything wrong because they are operating in the crypto world, so that possibly they could be holding some kind of illegal means, probably. It seems to me that you asked a very good question indeed. Let me answer it in a slightly different way. If we are to assume that when it comes to all the market participants, all exchanges, resources like technical optimization and opportunities, it is all permanent, stable, what is that you can attract a prospective new user with? It's not enough to add any new functionality like copy trading or AI-based solutions. This will not influence the equilibrium of forces. You need so much more, and it seems to me that here a huge role can be played by marketing and what is that a given exchange can be associated with. What kind of sentiments and emotions it stirs up. Once you are entering a given market, assuming you are authorized to access it, you have to take a closer look at a given recipient, their characteristics, and you have to offer a specific value to them, something that will be captivating to them. You have to connect it with the end recipient, and in the crypto world, we seem to be highly aware of it right now. While entering the Italian market, we have joined our forces with the Giro Italia race, and we are Juventus sponsor because we believe that we need to influence all kind of positive sentiments of a given user on a mass scale, because it's not that a Juventus fan or supporter will see the logo of Zonda Crypto and they are ready to turn into an active trader. No, but this information will be somehow embedded in their subconsciousness, and once they decide to invest, maybe, possibly, they will focus on us as well. And here it's again about the law of huge or great numbers. Basically, you want to attract as many possible recipients as possible. If everything is constant, the winner is the one who has the best possible marketing in terms of how much value you can deliver.
Zadałeś to pytanie, Kuba.
Okay, you asked this question, Kuba, and I started wondering, do we have just one vector that would define our competition, the way we compete, or is it multi-dimensional? So if you think about the multi-dimensional view, I will enumerate a couple of these dimensions. I think that what is really important for users, regardless of the type of the cryptocurrency system, the on-ramp and off-ramp speed of this system is really important. I mean, how fast they actually have this coin in their wallet, how fast this coin is placed on the stock exchange. This is what matters to them. So we can, for instance, measure our efficiency at Kanga, how fast the money can be paid in or paid out. In 2019, we wrote the slogan on a piece of paper. Our goal is that regardless of the place, the corner of the globe, 5 minutes would be enough for a user to pay the money onto Kanga or pay it out. So that was our goal. And I think that other areas where we can compete with others is our approach to AML, anti-money laundering mechanism. So we have this principle in place. If someone sends documentation to us and they have to verify, they have to confirm the source of funds, and they have some issues with proving it, we have always someone to advise them on it. We always explain to our customers, we know it's not fair that we ask you where you get this money from. We need to do that. We need to meet this obligation, but we can help you with it. In 2020, in terms of our approach to customers, we did something that I think was the first such initiative in Poland, maybe in the world. We basically launched the telephone line, like a hotline for our users who, for instance, need some advice how to perform a particular transaction. So that's how we help our consumers. And we also compete with new currency pairs. We can attract users that play on big stock exchanges. For instance, either on a large part or in some other form, we can offer to them this maybe unusual, maybe a bit exotic currency pair. And users come back to us for more. They come back to us also to get a unique token, for instance. If they come to us because they want to buy this token and they want to trade it because it can't be done on another stock exchange, such users normally, they turn out to be disloyal because they, at the end of the day, they will return to the stock exchange that they originally started trading on. Well, I don't know whether I agree with what you've said entirely. I set up my own solution half a year ago because I thought that basically the gap between the ICNEC and the cryptocurrency exchange is just massive. IC has a 40 times faster velocity speed of operation compared to other mechanisms. And MMA has also AMM or automated money makers. I mean, this is something that also has to be taken into account. So there's a lot of work ahead of us, especially if we compare our activity to traditional banks. I also operate on Coinbase, and it's very hard to get through to the customer service, even if you actually deposited quite a lot of money on that exchange. So compared to traditional finance, I mean, that's a lot that we still need to do. And the third technology-related issue is how fast we can integrate technological solutions. We integrated some of the technologies very fast, and if you have a good technology in place that you own, you can operate much faster at a much quicker pace than other rivals on the market who use white label solutions, or they have older technologies in place. If you want to attract new users, you need to make them feel safe. You need to make them feel that their money, their funds will be securely stored. So that's one thing. Another thing is that if you focus your attention on new products, that's a good idea, of course. But what is also a good idea is simplifying the existing products. There are a lot of users who just don't know how to use a particular product because it's too complex. They can't grasp it. We have users that know what Launchpad is, Launch Pool. They know these things. They well up on that. But there are many users who just don't know how to deal with that. We live in this bubble, you know, and many people that you're bumping to on the street that would just wouldn't know what these things are. This whole wallet setting up process, verifying the wallet, making the first payment, making the first transaction. Sometimes it's really difficult for them. So that should be made more intuitive for users. If they actually come across some hurdles at that point in time, they may get easily discouraged. So education of users is of key importance. They need to be aware of the risks associated with all the products that are linked to cryptocurrencies and with the cryptocurrencies themselves. But we need to always remember about the user experience, especially of those users that only started the journey into the world of cryptocurrencies. We need to simplify things for them as much as possible. We will be wrapping up in a moment, so maybe on a final note, could you tell us what is this one competitive advantage that your stock exchange has over the others, and what makes stock exchanges competitive? Well, yeah, we could perceive each other in terms of being competitors, but we are not actually. We have this common ground, which is making the cryptocurrency adoption faster. We want the users to trust cryptocurrency stock exchanges, but also to trust cryptocurrencies. It's not that we are not fighting for volumes or users, but we have something in common because all of us want to build a robust cryptocurrency system. And I think that we adopted the right course in order to achieve that goal. Innovative platform, that'd be my competitive advantage that I can think of. So that's something that I feel is a competitive advantage. Safety, education, and a meeting addressing directly the needs of users. I would like to be the best stock exchange for traders in the world. And if you are traders, why don't you join our bit trading competition? We have this competition that you can take part in. If you want to find out more about it, to join us at our stall. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for this debate. A round of applause for our panelists. Thank you, guys.